All right. We'll share the microphone. So we are Rachel and Florian Heise. Some of you may know Florian from YouTube. And
I know you from YouTube too. Yeah.
Well, I don't star as frequently as you. And we've been married for 10 years. We've been together for 14 and a half. We met at uni. We're both architects. We're crazy, work together, live together, teach together, do everything together, come out and talk together.
I think we spent 2 days. I think we spent 2 days apart recently, didn't we?
Yeah,
2 days. I mean.
So we have 4 children. So our eldest is Mina, and she will be 7 next week. And so she's in year 2. Today was our second day back. We went back yesterday. And we actually did do a week of school early January because I want to get ahead so I can take a bigger break when baby comes. So we can be a lot more flexible. And the catch is our poor children have to start school a bit earlier than everyone else. Then our next one is Frederick. And Frederick is 4. And today was his second day in kindy. So we got to go through the alphabet this morning. And then we've got Josephine. And Josephine is 2.5. Odelia is 1. And the next baby is due just after Easter. So that's a bit about us. So our journey starts way back in 2017. So 2017, our life looked a bit different. We had Mina, Frederick and Josephine, no Odelia. She was 6 months old. Mina was enrolled in the local Catholic school. We were ready to send her there in the following week, and we just started second-guessing our decision. And we met some friends, and I asked the kids, like, oh, so where do you go to school? I'm like, well, we're at home. I'm like, you can homeschool in Australia? I thought that was an American thing. I didn't know you could do that here. Like, yeah, we've done that our whole life. I'm like, oh, okay.
This was I can hold it. This was a family at church that had 7 children, and
8 now.
8 now, and the stereotype of homeschoolers, you all think they're socially awkward and weird, and that the family will all wear the same clothes all the time. That's the one rule I've told Rachel. We're never all wearing the same clothes, even though she wants to do that. But this was a group of children. I'll remember this now because that was the seed for us to even consider this, just how well behaved they were, how mature they were. They were taking responsibility at the church and stepping up. And that really stuck with me. And that was the seed that I think got us starting to actually consider this, because both of us, we went just through normal schools. We were not exposed to this in our own childhood or upbringing or any of our friends even.
Yeah, so no, that was completely off our radar. But we were just going, oh, it doesn't quite sit right with us. But we then basically got very curious. In a very short period of time, found the few people in our circle that did do things differently and rang them up and pestered them and asked lots of questions. And we came up with a list of pros and cons. So this is Mina at that age. That's the first thing she's ever made on the sewing machine. I'm very proud. She made it all herself. I did the buttons, but she did everything else. Yeah. So it's a very different scenario. We're looking at your individual child at home versus sending them off to be with the rest of the classroom. So it's a different life. And we really had to look at all the advantages and disadvantages of both. And I didn't really have the confidence to go full homeschool with the home education unit. It was a little bit too scary for me. And to find out that we could go through distance education and be enrolled in a school and have support from teachers and a library we can borrow from and sports days and all of those normal things while still having the benefit of having the kids at home, it seemed a lot safer and easier for me to dive in the deep end. Do you want to add anything else?
Well, so we discovered the Christian Faith School of Total Education. Is that what it's called?
No. The Faith Christian School of Distance Education.
I'm mixing it up with a school at Warwick. Okay, that's why. Anyway, so we discovered this school through a lady who I knew through a political organisation, and she was posting on Facebook about how her children were doing a part-time job and getting a certificate and finishing school.
They were in high school.
Yeah, in high school. And so we started talking to her about it, and she pointed us to this school, and she said, check out the website. It's pretty dodgy. And have a meeting with the principal. So he came into our office, and we sat down and had a talk. And he's quite a character, I would say. He was definitely quite a character, and we had a good discussion. And what was interesting was that this was something we'd never considered, distance education for us, because we're here in Brisbane. The benefits that we received from it compared to going to the other school is, from my perspective, because I'm the dad, I usually do the fun activities like the excursions and the science experiments, although I got day one. I got day one school yesterday after a big holiday, so that was really tough. But one thing I really appreciate is the flexibility we have. Because if we were to go to a traditional school, we'd have to ask permission if we want to take our own children on holiday, if we want to go and do an activity. Where here, I can go, okay, Rachel, I've had enough working today because we both work at home. I say, we're taking all the kids, we're going to Australia soon, let's turn it into a class activity. Mina can get an experience there, her brothers and sisters can get an experience there, and we can turn a family event into an educational activity. So you kind of start thinking like that, going, okay, what can I pry out of this event to be a schooling activity and tick some boxes?
So to add to this, the tipping point was also a financial one, because I just had third baby, 6 months old, and I got to a point where previously, before we had baby number 3, I could still pretty much do a full-time week and do full-time hours. Once third baby came along, no, I couldn't work as a competent architect. I was too distracted, and I wasn't reliable. I couldn't be client-facing because I'm crying baby in the background. It's not very professional.
Well, Rachel should just add that during this time we had all our children in the office, as you saw in the photos. So they were coming every day to the office, playing around there. No, we couldn't afford childcare.
We didn't do childcare.
Yeah, we didn't like it.
So it was also a point where we're like, well, we probably will have more children. So the sacrifice of losing an income, which really you can't go through this journey and have 2 working full-time parents, it's just not possible, wasn't really an issue, because at that point we kind of decided that I'd be stepping back anyway. So I thought I'd add that in, because that's probably the biggest hurdle, is financially you're going to be on a single income to do this. So, first year of school, 2018. So, most of what I wanted to talk about we already have. The advantages of what we get from our schools. So it was a busy year. So this is just a very brief snapshot.
One of the images there, if you can see me holding the yellow sign, that was a science fair where Mina had to develop a whole science experiment, had to present it to the whole school. So you're doing all the normal things that you do at a normal school. Just we kind of, we try and condense the schooling into the morning so they've got more time to play and be children. Did anyone see, 60 Minutes recently did a piece on homework, and children the same age as Mina are coming home and doing 3 hours of schoolwork and of homework, and that's got me angry, because we can do the whole school day in 3 hours.
Not anymore. She's year 2. It's 4 hours now.
Okay, 4 hours, but last week it was 3. And they get to play, and we've got neighbours, kids similar age. We never see them out of the house. They're always inside doing school. So you can see all the range of activities that we did here, going to events, koala parks, and as I said, as the dad, I try and do the fun things.
Yeah, going to Eka.
The Eka, and all of these, you turn it into an educational activity. You make them doing work, you teach them things as you go along. As a parent, you are directly responsible for your child's education. So if they don't know something, it's your fault, because it's your job to teach them. And that really gets rammed home here. And it can be frustrating sometimes when they don't get a concept, but you have to be patient.
Whose aircraft were they flying?
They were at the Eka, so they got to play in the
Royal Flying Doctors.
The Royal Flying Doctors pretend aeroplane.
The one thing with the Eka, though, is now Mina thinks every ant she sees is a fire ant. Because of the bloody fire ant display at the heck, every ant is a fire ant.
It's very irritating.
Oh.
But look, we got to go down and see the baton relay for the Com Games and, you know, a lot of fun stuff. But it's also a lot of sitting down and doing bookwork. I probably feel more like an enforcer than a teacher because I have to enforce that the work gets done. You sit down and you do it. They're not allowed to play until the work gets done. So it's not like they get to bum around all day and watch TV. They have a lot to do. So, and also in 2018 I had another baby. So that was a really busy year. So 2019, so last year, probably the biggest difference with last year is we actually joined a homeschooling dance school. And this was the first time that we had been exposed to the wide variety of what are homeschoolers. So we're probably up at the more rigid end, being distance education. And then right down in the middle, you've got the home education units. So that's where the parents will directly enrol with the Department of Education and they work together one-on-one. And then you've got unschoolers. So it's a bit like voting. If you never enrol, no one knows about you. So these are the kids that have never been enrolled in school and they fly under the radar. So that's the spectrum of homeschooling. And so we are right up in the distance ed side of things. We're in year 2, we do the year 2 curriculum. If we change our mind, circumstances change, she can go to another school. It's a school-to-school transfer. It's very smooth, you can go in and out. We also went private because to go public with distance ed, you need to have good reason. So we live in Brisbane, so we're not remote. It's not like we need to do distance because there isn't a school nearby. Our kids have never been to mainstream schools, so they haven't experienced severe bullying, they haven't got anxiety, they haven't had all of those other reasons to go distance, and they don't have major health issues, which would make school impossible. So there is public distance ed, but you need a good reason, and that's why having private distance ed schools services people like us. Yeah.
And the school that we're in has grown significantly over the last few years. It's over 1,200, I think, to 1,300 now students. So it's all through the whole state. And they have teachers in different regions. So you have a teacher that will come and visit you every term. And they'll do
in your house.
They'll come to your house. They'll come and visit you every term.
Check your work. They'll check the work and give you a report card. And I feel like they're reporting on me and not on the kids. It's very stressful. The kids love it. They're like, get to show off everything they've done. And they're going, I hope we pass, I hope we pass.
Well, Rachel got all A's for Mina this last year, so very good for her. But it is, I mean, I'll tease her, it's funny. But I mean, that's a great extra level of support because you have the teachers coming there and spending that time with you, and it's fantastic just having that. But they also have, one thing that we really enjoyed were the camps with this school. So we all, starting school, the whole family, we went up to a camp to Monrepo because we're actually involved in a school so they can go to the special campgrounds which are just for the groups or the schools. And Monrepo is near Bundy where they have the little turtles. So Mina and I were there and we got to see the hatching turtles. Then we had another camp, I think this year, which was up the Brisbane River, and I went, it was just the little preppies and the 1 and 2. I went with Mina, just the two of us. And we were
No siblings, she was very...
Oh yeah, no siblings, she loved it. She loved it all by herself. So all these extra little things that, as a parent, you get to be involved in the education directly, and it's very rewarding.
And we're just starting to see that they're starting to teach each other, which is lovely. It's really nice that we haven't separated the siblings. They're all at home, and Mina is... Like this week with Frederick starting kindy, I'm doing the alphabet and starting the phonics again, and she's like, what colour's this and what colour's that? And it's lovely to see them starting to teach each other. And they fight just as much as they play, but with the few times that they do it's really lovely. You want to get the camera out and capture that moment because it's not like it happens all the time, but it's lovely to see that what everyone tells you actually does happen as they get older. So yeah, no, last year was a busy year. Lots of things happening. with lots of kids. And so we're this year. So what are we... Basically, one of the big questions I get all the time is, so how long are you going to do this? When are you going to put them in school? And I go, I don't know. We'll take each year as it comes. And to be honest, it will likely be something we consider when our youngest hits school age. Because until then, it's not really financially worth it, because I'd be spending far too much in childcare and after school care to work. So if I'm not working, I may as well be teaching my own children.
One of the fundamental things that I would like to achieve through this whole process for our kids is they come out of this education thinking like an entrepreneur, learning skills on how to create their own jobs and adapt to the future. So I think some of the issues with our current education system is it's based on a Prussian method 100 years ago, training out nice little factory workers that'll just sit there and move in a cog around, which is completely outmoded and pointless now. If I can train them with the skills to question, to challenge, to create, I think those are the best gift we can give them, as well as actually letting them have a childhood where they can play and they don't have to do all the homework and the extra things.
The flip side is this is not a journey for everyone, because it's very hard to get ahead on a single income. There's a lot of families that just would say, I'd love to do that, but I can't. Or single parents, a lot of them do it and they do a very good job, but this is not a journey that everyone has the luxury to be able to have. So I feel very blessed that we can do this, and who knows where it'll go. Anything to add? I got memes.
Rachel's got a few memes that people ask you. I mean, it's all the standard stereotypes. People think your children aren't socialised, but they're as weird as we were. We went to school, so. And you can teach them your worldview, but then they'll just question it as well. I mean, they're kids. That's what you want. The worrying thing is when your own personality gets reflected back.
Oh, that's awful.
So I think Rachel's getting punished for her childhood, particularly now that you have to teach her.
Yeah, they're just like us.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. That's essentially our first few years on this unusual journey.